My sister Tracy is the one who said to me, Toni, you know, when you make it, you can help us come on. So I always try to abide that. But the responsibility of it is so heavy for me. I feel I can never live my life, and I never used to say it. I never used to say anything to anybody, but since we've been doing this show, I've been saying it.
Toni Braxton isn't staying silent anymore. She's calling out her own sisters, Traci and Towanda, for turning her life upside down. Fame, money, and family secrets, it's all exploding now. What went wrong behind the scenes? The truth might just shock you.
My plan was to talk to Traci after the show because we do Love and War together at the end, take a bow for the audience. She left though. I was like, where's Traci at?
So even right now, y'all haven't talked?
No.
The Braxton family isn't just famous, they're legendary. When you think of powerhouse voices and bold personalities, you think of the Braxtons. And right at the center of it all, Toni Braxton. She's the one who broke through in the early 90s with her deep, sultry voice and heart-touching songs like Unbreak My Heart. She quickly became a global R&B superstar, winning Grammy Awards and topping charts. But Toni didn't rise alone. Her sisters were right there with her, hoping to shine too. Traci, Towanda, Tamar, and Trina all had dreams of music stardom. Together they formed a girl group called the Braxtons. The talent was there, no doubt. But once Toni got her solo deal, the spotlight shifted. That's where the cracks started to show. While Toni's career skyrocketed, the others were left trying to figure out where they fit. And let's be real, fame and family don't always mix well.
I'm gonna get her life and then I'm gonna read her. Go ahead, get your life.
Tamar, guess what? You couldn't read if a book was in front of you.
Oh, girl, I read
so
so
sit
many
down.
times, okay?
Guess what? I don't even have the time for it.
I can't tell.
You can, actually.
Oh, okay.
Go tell.
Well, T-E-L-L, bitch. How about that?
Did you just call me a bitch?
Am
I the same bitch that you put out during your show?
Things really took a turn when Braxton Family Values hit TV screens in 2011. At first, fans were excited to see the sisters together. The show had everything: laughter, tears, big moments, and big fights. And the tension, oh, it was real. Toni often came across as the calm, collected one. Traci was the underdog with a big heart. Towanda tried to be the peacemaker, but struggled to keep the family together. They loved each other, sure, but the jealousy, competition, and old wounds were hard to hide. Toni began feeling like the backbone of the family, emotionally, financially, and professionally. She brought opportunities to the table, helped her sisters land gigs, and tried to keep the brand strong. But she started to feel used, even unappreciated. And while the cameras caught some of the drama, not everything made it to air. Then came the heartbreak no one expected: Traci's death in 2022. She passed after a quiet battle with cancer. The world mourned, and so did her sisters. But behind the tears, the silence between the sisters grew louder. Rumors started swirling. People whispered that there were secrets, lies, and unfinished arguments, and now Toni's ready to talk.
13 or 14, my mom, she had a really bad accident. She fell, and her back was really messed up, so she was in the hospital a long time. And so I was a surrogate parent for a moment.
Where was Dad?
Working, had to make a living, had 6 kids.
Toni Braxton is a music legend, but her life behind the scenes hasn't always been glamorous. In fact, she's faced some serious money problems twice. That's right, despite selling millions of albums and winning Grammy Awards, Toni Braxton filed for bankruptcy not once, but twice. How does that even happen to someone so famous? Let's break it down. Her first bankruptcy happened in 1998. People were shocked. How could someone who sold over 20 million albums be broke? Turns out, Toni had a bad deal with her record label, LaFace Records. She was reportedly getting less than 35 cents for each album sold. That's pennies, literally. Her album sales brought in millions for the label, but her royalty check was just under $2,000, 0 cents. No wonder she ended up in court trying to get out of the contract. She felt cheated, and fans agreed. Fast forward to 2010, and Toni was in financial trouble again. This time, it wasn't just bad contracts, it was also health issues. She had a heart condition that forced her to cancel her Las Vegas show. Toni had poured her own money into the show, expecting it to bring in big bucks. But when her health got in the way, the losses hit hard. She had insurance, but the company refused to pay out. Why? They said she didn't tell them everything about her medical history. Just like that, she was drowning in debt again. Somewhere between $10 million 0 cents and $50 million 0 cents.
So what would it look like for you if it were different? If you didn't have that responsibility and if they weren't leaning on you, what would your life look like? What would you be doing?
Well, I would have soared higher.
You think so?
Absolutely.
But there's more to the story. Toni wasn't just taking care of herself. She was also supporting her family, especially her sisters. Reports claim that Traci and Towanda leaned on her financially. As the most successful Braxton, Toni felt the pressure to help everyone out. She paid bills, helped with business ideas, and was always there when someone needed something. That kind of emotional and financial burden wears a person down. Toni has said in interviews that she felt drained, not just in her bank account, but in her heart. She loved her family, but at times she felt like they expected too much. And when the help never stops, it turns into stress. She even had to sell personal items like her piano, cars, and awards just to stay afloat. That's heartbreaking for someone who worked so hard. Still, Toni didn't give up. She joined Braxton Family Values and used the show as a way to rebuild. It gave her a fresh start and a steady income. But the pain from the past didn't just go away. Now, as she opens up more, it's clear that those financial struggles weren't just about money. They were about family, loyalty, and feeling used.
Mommy and Daddy's divorced, and a divorced mom pretty much got nothing. I'm not going to leave my mom by herself. So I'm going to make sure my mother's taken care of. None of my siblings have helped me take care of my mother to make sure she was okay, except for Tamar.
Toni Braxton may be a superstar, but even stars have their breaking points, especially when family is involved. Over the years, Toni has carried a heavy emotional load, not just from fame and health struggles, but from deep family issues that never seem to go away.
No one said,
This is before Vincent.
before Vince, Mommy's car insurance is due. Let's help Toni with Mommy car insurance. Boy, Tamar.
Being the oldest Braxton sister and the most famous, Toni often felt like she had to keep the family together. On the outside, they looked like a strong unit, but behind the scenes, it wasn't always peaceful. Arguments, jealousy, and misunderstandings pulled the sisters apart more than once. And guess who always tried to fix things? Toni. The family's reality show, Braxton Family Values, gave fans a peek into their world. It had fun moments, sure, but it also showed raw emotions and serious tension. Toni would often find herself stuck in the middle of her sister's fights. She tried to play peacemaker, but it wasn't easy. The constant drama and pressure to keep the peace wore her down. Things got even harder when her sister Traci passed away in 2022 after battling cancer. That hit Toni hard. She said, "It didn't even feel real." Losing a sibling is already painful, but for Toni, who was also dealing with her own health issues like lupus, it felt like too much. She was grieving, trying to support her family, and still expected to be the strong one. That kind of emotional pressure is exhausting. And Traci's passing brought up even more tension. Some fans and insiders say there were disagreements over how to honor her memory. There were whispers about some sisters feeling left out or overlooked. For Toni, it was another heartbreaking reminder of how fragile family bonds can be. Then there was Tamar, the youngest sister, who publicly struggled with her mental health. After her suicide attempt in 2020, the whole family was shaken. Toni was deeply worried, but also emotionally tired. She wanted to help, but when you're constantly fixing things for everyone, you start to lose yourself. Through it all, Toni tried to stay strong, but behind the scenes she was drained, mentally, emotionally, and physically. She once said being the oldest meant always being the one who had to hold it all together. That's a heavy burden to carry for so long. Now, the Braxtons are trying to rebuild. Their new show, The Braxtons, is about healing, growth, and facing the truth. Toni hopes their story can help others. She knows that family can be both your biggest support and your deepest pain. The Braxtons have always been open about their ups and downs, especially through their reality show, Braxton Family Values. The show aired on WE and gave fans a glimpse into the lives of the 5 Braxton sisters. But while it showed moments of sisterly love, it also exposed tensions, especially between Toni, Traci, and Towanda. The media jumped on these moments, turning them into bigger stories. Fans quickly noticed the emotional and financial strain Toni seemed to carry on her shoulders, often feeling like she was the glue holding the family together. In several interviews, Toni has shared how drained she felt by her family's demands. She said that her sisters, particularly Traci and Towanda, often relied on her for support. emotionally and financially. These revelations were shared in videos, articles, and podcasts, which sparked conversations online. Fans started questioning whether Toni was being used or if she was simply trying to take care of her family, even when it cost her peace of mind. Some supporters of Toni even felt that the media twisted her words or focused too much on the negative aspects of her family dynamics, creating unnecessary drama. Online platforms like YouTube have become a major source for discussions about the Braxtons. Channels dedicated to celebrity gossip and reality TV break down episodes from Braxton Family Values, pointing out key moments that show the emotional toll Toni seemed to face. These videos often highlight her struggles with her health, her financial issues, and the weight of being the strong one in the family. Comment sections explode with opinions, many empathizing with Toni and others speculating about her relationships with her sisters. Some even question whether the sisters truly have her best interests at heart or if the drama is just for the cameras. What's interesting is how these online conversations shape how we see the Braxton family. While reality shows offer some truth, they often leave out important details. That's where the media plays a role in piecing things together. Articles on websites like Nicki Swift or Cheat Sheet give fans context and break down the emotional struggles Toni has faced. The stories paint a picture of a woman who's not just dealing with fame, but also navigating the complicated relationships that come with being in a large family. The media has made it clear that Toni, Traci, and Towanda's issues aren't just about money or fame, they're about deep-rooted family dynamics. The family is messy, but it's also real. Toni's willingness to speak up about her feelings despite the media backlash has sparked important conversations about boundaries, emotional labor, and the pressures of being in the public eye. The Braxtons have taught us that even the most famous families are filled with struggles that are far more complex than what we see on TV. The Braxton family's story is far from simple, but it's a reminder of the pressures fame can bring. Want to stay updated? Subscribe for more insights on celebrity dynamics and family drama.